What's up guys, Mark back with another Q&A video, so let's not dilly-dally, shall we? I'm surprised you didn't bring up in-body image stabilization or the lack thereof. Would have been killer if it did have it, even if the form factor had to grow a little. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the in-body image stabilization is kind of a more premium feature. A lot of the Sony E-mount lenses already have optical steady shot built into them, like the 18-105G and the 50mm 1.8, so there are already a few options to help you stabilize your shot without having the sensor stabilize itself in camera. So while it was a bit of a bummer not to even have the option, it's not an absolute deal breaker for me because I do have plenty of OSS lenses that will already help me fix that issue. So if it is a bigger problem, or if the form factor isn't a huge issue for you, just a couple of $100 more and you can bump right on up to the A7S Mark II. You can usually find them used pretty damn cheap on Amazon. I'll leave a link to all those down in the description below, and you can find them there. But for me, it wasn't that big of a deal, and the video functions on the A6300 were far superior to the Sony A7S Mark II. So it wasn't a big deal for me at all. And by the way, image quality aside, how do you feel about improvements made on the autofocus speed with third-party lenses and adapters? Worth the upgrade? Well, I'll tell you, that particular issue is a little bit iffy for me, but overall, I've heard nothing but really great successes, especially with the new Metabones adapter. I believe it's what, Mark IV, version 4, number 4, whatever the fuck they're calling it these days. It's been doing really well as far as adapting Canon glass over to Sony. I know that Comlight has done pretty good adapting lenses over to Sony as well. And now that we've got Sigma with their MC11, you can now adapt Sigma glass over to Sony as well. So you do have a lot of different options, and the reason that particular market is getting so big is because of the fact that more and more people are switching to Sony, and Sony has not really addressed that situation. So a lot of other companies are, like I said, Metabones, Comlight, and Sigma. So I think it's a good thing. Anything that provides you with more options is a good thing. Can you test Canon triggers on Canon compatible speedlights? Well, man, one of the flashes that I was testing in that video was in fact it was the Aperlight. It was a Canon branded flash to begin with. I think that you should use whatever is going to work best, and there are a lot of Canon branded items out there so far that I've tested that actually do work. So Canon branded triggers, Canon branded flashes. I've honestly found the Canon branded stuff to work easier and better on the Sony system than some of the Nikon stuff. I'm not really a huge fan of anything that Sony has really come out. A hot shoe mounted microphone was kind of gimmicky in my opinion. I thought it was kind of trash. The Bluetooth microphone that they had was kind of trash. I wasn't really hip on that. And they do have some pretty neat innovations as far as their flashes are concerned. I'm just not ready to spend that kind of money again on a name brand of flashes, especially when the damn near throwaway technology of like Yongnuo and the Aperlights and the newer branded flashes and triggers are honestly, they're pretty damn good as it sits right now. And if I break one, or if I lose one, or if I just thrash one or drop one, I don't really care. I'll just go buy another one. Hi, I have an A6000 and I want to get another lens. I make short films and want the lens that will get me the best all-around quality and is the most versatile. What do you recommend? My price range is up to $400. Should that be enough for a fairly good lens? A lot of people want absolutely everything for the cheapest price absolutely possible, and I can kind of get that, but at the same time, you can't have it all. But if your budget is as such, then I would say save up an extra $100, $200 and just go ahead and get the 18-105 f.4 G lens. For me, it is an extremely versatile lens. It gives me every major focal range. It gives you a 24mm, it gives you a 35mm, it gives you a 50mm, it gives you an 85mm. It's a very versatile lens. It's not $400, it's more along the lines of about $6 or $7, but it is an extremely versatile lens, and it's a power zoom, so if you're into filmmaking, that's going to be a very good lens because of the power zoom and the smooth focus and zooming in and out and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to criticize anyone for trying to save money. Honestly, I am not trying to do that. But what I am trying to say is that you kind of get what you pay for. Invest in whatever it's going to take for you to get your job done. The 18-105 is an excellent lens. I'm using it right now, as a matter of fact. I love this lens. It's an absolute joy to work with. I have nothing but good things to say about this lens other than the f.4 aperture. I would like like for it to be a 2.8, but in order to get anything close to that, I would have to spend thousands more than what I am. The one I'm referring to, I believe it's the 24 to 135. Power, is it a power zoom? I don't think it's a power zoom, but it's the cinema lens that Sony sells. It's a great lens too. I think it's pretty awesome, but I'm not interested in paying that much because that doesn't suit my workflow as much. It's a huge lens, it's extremely heavy. I just find the 18-105 to be a great all-around zoom lens. If you need anything more than that, you can always go scoop up a 50mm prime. You can also get a 35mm prime. I think you can get both of those lenses for right around $400 for the 35 and about $3.5 or so for the 50mm. I'll go ahead and I'll look them up for you just because I'm a super duper nice guy, and I'll leave the links down in the description for you down below. Does this camera overheat at all in 1080p? As far as I know, man, it absolutely does not. I cannot confirm or deny that. I have not done that test, but if that is absolutely positively something that you might be interested in, maybe I'll do it. But as far as I know, the A6000 didn't even overheat in 1080p mode. So I can't imagine that this camera would either. And honestly, I have not experienced any level of overheating. It has gotten warm and it's given me a warning, but up to its maximum recording limit, I have not yet once been able to get the camera to shut off like a hard shutdown where the screen just goes black and the camera just turns off. So you can take that for what it's worth. You should have more people subscribe and view your videos. I'm not even going to disagree with you here. I agree. More people should watch this channel. Thanks for saying so. I have had enough of these tests. Not bashing this channel, but the manual says 20 minutes of 4K, right? Why are people testing it over this? What about if you're using it for interviews or something else where it is standing on a tripod, etc.? Try putting tape over the EVF sensor and turn the brightness way down. I'm getting the A6300 next week. Let's just put it in terms of tools. You could technically drive a nail with a screwdriver just whacking at it, but it's not the most efficient tool to get that specific job done. These cameras that we're buying these days are not necessarily video cameras. They are stills cameras that can do video. And while they can do some pretty amazing things, they are not intended for long form video. So if you plan on doing interviews or lots of hardcore documentary film work, filmmaking where you're waiting around for something to happen and you've just got to constantly keep the shit recording just in case stuff does, or you're recording wedding receptions or something like that, buy the right fucking tool for the job. People are almost incorrigible and unsatisfiable. Is that even a word? Unsatisfiable? If it's not a word, I like it. But the long and short of it is that you should buy what works for you. Don't try to put a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work that way. While I find that this particular camera for short form videos up to 29 minutes or so works absolutely perfect for the way I like to do things. I don't do a whole lot of anything that would require me to record any longer than that. But I know that there is some of you that do require. If that's the case, you probably want to start looking into maybe getting yourself, dare I say, an FS5, an FS7, which is $5,000 and $8,000 respectively. Or you could go old school and buy yourself one of the NEX Sony camcorders, or maybe you could go super duper consumer grade and get yourself a Handycam. Fuck man, I don't know what you need. But what I do know is that you cannot expect the entire world to be crammed inside of these little bitty cameras. It's just not feasible or possible. So yes, man, I agree with you. And I think that more and more people should buy the right tool for the right job and get what they need to get their work done. That's what this is all about. Getting work done, and if your project requires long form video, this is probably not the camera to get. Who would have thunk that logic could solve problems? So again, guys, there's another Q&A right on down the drain. I want to thank everyone for sending in your comments and questions. And if you'd like to have your comment or question right here on the show, drop those down in the comment section below and I will get to them on the next episode, perhaps. At any rate, guys, thanks again for stopping here at the Photo Video Show. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace.